Welcome to the Emo Social Club podcast, broadcasting to you live from emosocialclub.tv. I am Brian.
And I'm Lizzie, and we're here tonight with the cool dudes of Last Night Saved My Life. Thank you so much for coming on and talking with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Having us.
Yeah. Why don't you introduce yourselves, say what you do in the band, and we agreed beforehand we're bringing back the Shaka Bra. So if you could pick anybody to be side stage giving you the Shaka, well, who would it be?
JB, I volunteer you as tribute first.
All right, JB, aka Justin. Nurse. A lot of nicknames these guys have for me, actually. I play guitar. See, I thought we were saying musicians that were going to be side stage, so I was going to go with Tom DeLonge.
Yeah.
Which I thought Riley was going to also go for. But that would be mine. That would definitely be mine.
Okay. You know, I knew he was going to do that, so that's my favorite artist of all time, and that's okay. We share that in a lot of ways. That's why we're best friends. But hi, everybody. Riley Hupfer. I play rhythm guitar in the band. If I'm turning side stage, I look Matthew McConaughey dead in the eyes, and as he's waving his hand back and forth, he mouths, all right.
Yeah.
And then he does that little finger thing that he does in the commercials when he's driving the car. You know, that.
Oh man!
I mean, that's it. That's. I bought his memoir. I'm writing another one for him.
There we go.
Glad you let me go first, so I didn't have to follow suit.
True.
Fair enough.
There's a whole scenario played out already,
Yeah, you can
ready
see
to
it.
go.
Yeah. I have concerns. They're not founded on anything. Like, I think Matthew McConaughey is probably a really normal stand-up dude. But I just sometimes he says things and I'm like,
oh yeah,
who are you, man? Who are you? What are you about?
Yeah, I can't disagree with it. I mean, it's like you question Matthew McConaughey, and we probably always will, but at the same time, he always delivers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, that you can see it now. He's pinching his hand together. He's
somewhere
all right. And you're just like, man, this is the coolest show I've ever played.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you here, man?
I forget this about you, Riley, that this is kind of like your closet fan of Matthew McConaughey. And it's been 3 years now, honestly.
My secret favorite actor. Yeah.
He had a whole renaissance. He had the McConaissance.
The McConaissance.
No. We keep making these words for actors with Renaissance, and now we're just getting silly.
Well, that one has been out there. We said the Fraser-sance in our last episode, and for Brendan Fraser, but then I preferred Golden Frage. And I watched The Mummy last night just to remind myself that it's great, and it does. It fucking holds up. It's a great movie.
I don't think I've talked to anybody in a long time who said I watched The Mummy last night. I respect that.
Get into it.
I watched National Treasure last week.
Hell yeah.
I feel like that's maybe along the same lines as that. I don't know.
Yeah. I've never seen that series. But
What? You've never watched National Treasure?
Being a child of the 90s, once it got to be about 2002, 2003, I already kind of knew this isn't for me. This is for the next generation.
Wow.
And National Treasure was on that level.
You never had an immense urge to steal the Declaration of Independence?
I didn't say that. No. Obviously I want to conduct a heist, but I don't need to see the movie to do that or be inspired.
I feel like Nick, he'd inspire you. Yeah, I think it's worth revisiting now. You're past that stage, I think, where it's oh, this is for the next generation. This is no, it's a throwback for you now.
Yeah, now
you know what I mean?
I could try it out. It's all these action movies. Now that we're in the realm of Marvel being everything, and Marvel is all the action movies. Marvel is every summer blockbuster. Going back to some of the old action, big budget action movies. Especially during the 90s when it was still very early in CGI, The Mummy CGI does not hold up, but the plot, and a lot of it is practical. So you see a lot of that effort and time put into something that I don't think now. I think studios just go, you know what? Fuck it. We'll send it to CGI. Just somebody draw it in there. Like that effort and that work that was in movies at that time, I think is why it holds up. Like Jurassic Park is the same way. But it's almost kitschy now. Like, oh, this was back in a time when they didn't know Marvel movies in that formula. So they did whatever they wanted to do. And then that set the precedent. And then we saw The Dark Knight and we're like, wait, these action movies should be darker and grittier. And like, it's like this realm of like where the superhero movies and all these action movies went. And so it is fun to go back and watch some of the old ones.
Cue Robert Pattinson now, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Twilight Renaissance too. That's happening. Insane. I'm on board 100%.
Well, I'm thinking about him as Batman, right? Because isn't that coming out?
Oh yeah.
Soon?
Yeah.
Which I'm in. Like take me there. Let's see what happens.
I want to know how deep his voice goes to try to be that type of Batman, if he even attempts to, because I only know him as Edward Cullen.
Yeah. Can he be Christian Bale? You know, can he do that?
If I remember the like premise correctly, he's like kind of a younger Batman where he's like getting into being like, he's like fresh out of college, ready to go into the real world.
He doesn't have a naturally deep voice. He develops a deep voice.
Yeah.
Like he's the undergraduate Batman.
Yeah. Batman in his undergrad.
Crack fighting creates a deep, raspy voice.
Oh man.
It's from chain smoking too many. It's from chain smoking too many cigarettes after hours, and you're like, I can't do this anymore.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Oh man, this changed the way I'm going to watch this movie.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, we should talk about your music as well. We can talk about movies for later too. So you just released a new single called Black Dress with Michaela Delgado of yours truly. Yeah. So how's that been doing? Because as far as we could see when I was looking at your social profiles and all that, it looks like it's like blowing up. It's doing real good.
So I'll say from a stream perspective, not entirely.
Okay.
But I think from like a fan engagement in terms of like what we're hearing back, people really like this. And this is one of the songs that we've been the most pumped to release, I think, because it feels kind of like an evolution for us. Like you listen to Cherry and it just feels younger, and maybe we're the band and we've listened to these songs over and over and we're just over Cherry by now, you know, right? Like we've moved on, but I don't know. Black Dress it was a fun one for us, and Michaela she knocked it out. We've said this in a couple blog posts and different things that we gave her the song and Wilson gave her like a couple vocal notes, but then she just took it and ran with it. And you hear her run at the end, and like that was all her. So that was a really cool feature to work with her.
How did you guys decide upon having her be featured in it? Because it looks like you guys have also collaborated with a lot of other individuals, whether in the production side or just on tracks too.
Yeah. So, and I don't want to steal a thunder. So JB, next question is yours, man. We were in the studio, and I think most people know, if you follow our music, that Derek Discanio from State Champs produces on our albums from Cherry onward. And then Seth Henderson, who we record with at Always Be Genius in Indiana, he produces too. And so Derek had a connection to Michaela, and we were just really feeling a feature. We hadn't had a female feature yet either, and we thought that was a really cool touch to the song and could offer a lot. And so we just worked through him, reached out, and she liked the song and was interested in it. So yeah, it was just a cool connection, and obviously having Derek on board has helped make the songs a lot better.
And then is this, I'm assuming, going to be on your new upcoming album, The Color Infinite, that's out on the 1st of October?
That is correct. Yeah, so I think we've one more single planned before the album drops. So that's still in the works, I guess, some of the details. But yeah, this one will definitely be included. And for me, I guess we haven't played it yet live. That's the thing I'm excited for the most. We've had one rehearsal. We've got a couple more planned for our album release show, but just playing that one with the guys has been fun. So I just can't wait for the fans to see it live. So
we get to play a live show again. It's like
that's the other thing is, not even this song, just getting to play
any song, right?
Yeah, any song plus these new ones that we've been sitting on for so long. So
that a show is on the 8th. Is that
October 8th, Pontiac, Michigan at the Pike Room. Yep. So
hell yeah.
You follow us on socials. You can see our we look like a 5-piece like NSYNC style. I'm not thinking of the term.
Like boy band?
Boy band, thank you.
Yeah.
Like we have the boy band brand going, and so look for the white backdrop with a bunch of average looking dudes in a boy band lookalike photo. That's
the
us.
photo looks good. I'm gonna say
it's
it
good.
like
it's clean.
Yeah,
it's what the kids like. They like boy bands now.
Let's go.
It also like
Elijah. Yeah, we worked with a photographer this time that I crept on Instagram and found, and he just he made us look way better than we really look. So,
honestly, yeah, we were listening to Nickelback to pump us up as we were shooting those photos. It's like photograph comes on and we struck that pose, you know.
Hell yeah.
I was just thinking about that as we got on of like the weird anthems we have.
Yeah.
Nickelback's one. Put Me In, Coach. Who is? I don't even remember.
So John Fogerty, center field.
Oh my God.
You know, put me in, Coach. It's like, I mean, CCR now obviously is a default because of John Fogerty in center field, but yeah, Nickelback has been a part of that rotation too.
We literally ripped that album top to bottom during that photo shoot. I guess.
Yeah.
That's a good,
the whole
There's no shame.
Yeah, we were like, wow, I forgot how many radio songs were on this album.
How many bangers?
But yeah.
Straight bangers, Nickelback bangers only.
We used to doubt them, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe some people still do, and that's fair. But
our thing is now we go to bars, and if they have those little like touch tunes,
the touch tunes, yeah.
If you're at a bar and you hear Nickelback come on, we're probably there.
It's us.
That's the bat signal for you guys. It's Nickelback.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson comes in, beats everybody up.
Dramatic turn.
Yeah.
And it's look at this photograph, and it's all in sequence. It's all very
look
dramatic.
at this photograph. It's like
he hears
I'm sorry to bring it
and
back.
He's just instantly like, give me the nearest criminal.
Yeah, I'm sorry to bring it back to that, but like they've been using Nirvana songs like covers, and they're like slowed down, and they have like orchestration behind it. This has been like the dramatic thing. They did it at the beginning of Black Widow too, and I'm like, what if they did like that dramatic feeling to Photograph by Nickelback, and it's just like, look at this photograph, and then it's like a quick cut of like him like punching a dude.
It's actually him having a flashback to his dead parents. It's like,
every time I do, it makes me laugh.
Then he hits it. Where is she?
Yeah, where is she? Rachel.
Rachel.
Like, I think that we need to make like a trailer. We could do it for your band. We could make a trailer where it's like for this album release show, and it's like, look at this photograph, and it's like quick cuts and like action and like mystery, and then like October 8th, the first show back.
This is our TikTok coming out party. Like,
there
this
we
is,
go.
you know, the ascension. TikTok stardom.
The TikTok band now.
Yeah. You know, honestly, that's a way to make it. So
When
maybe that's what we need to do. We've talked about it.
Now we've done it. Also circling back to your features, because I'm really interested in this as like a thing in rock, which I feel like it hasn't really been a thing in rock music until I guess more recently, with the exception of Fall Out Boy, who does it as like their Fuel by Ramen extended universe. They have all of their like Fuel by Ramen and Decadence artists in their songs too, but in rock music, it hasn't really been a thing, but people get really stoked now when there are features on a record. I just saw like, I think yesterday, Lil Nas X announced his track listing, and it's got like Miley Cyrus, Elton John, Megan Thee Stallion. And it's like all these artists are on there, and people are like, holy shit, the Miley Cyrus feature. And it's like, there was a time when this is like in rock and emo and pop punk, this didn't matter. Like nobody wanted it features. Nobody had them. They say, oh, you don't need that person on there or whatever. But I think it's like kind of shifting now. Like, how do you guys feel about that?
I'll comment first, Jamie. I mean, I love it. I think if I see a record that comes out as like a fan, and I see 4 or 5 features on it, I'm like, wow, these songs are going to be really different and have a really different touch to them, and that I don't know, that excites me because I'm into we've had the genre blending question and how we feel about that, and I'm into that, and I personally like that experience, and so for us, I feel like at one point we were state champs fans at Warped Tour, right? Like, and now we had the chance to work with Derek and work with Michaela and different things. So for us to have the chance to work with them and actually like sit down and say, okay, this part should be like this, and wordsmith a song and work in that way is a really cool experience. So that's part of it. And then I think to just offer fans something unique and new that can potentially surprise people and then also bring in more fans is a big thing.
Yeah, and I feel like it like keeps it fresh also, and it surprises fans. And I feel like it was like almost a voodoo for some reason at some point with rock, where it was like, don't do this. But then if I look at like some of the other music I listen to, like I was really big into Quinn 92, and they've got their own little circle of artists they all play with, and they all feature on each other and like
tour together.
A third of the songs have a feature, and it keeps it fresh and interesting. So I'm like, it's cool that it's becoming, I guess, more accepted. And then also not even like the feature, but like the co-writes and like just getting in a room with other people. I feel like that also had a voodoo in the rock world, and now it's more accepted. Like this, one of the songs that is going to be on this new EP we've got. Wilson, our singer, and Derek sat down on the back porch and just wrote a song, and like you can just feel it. That's different than what you would do when it's just us three writing, or the group of us, the 5 of us writing. So like for me, it's like you just want to get something good out, something new, something fresh, and getting a different creative perspective in there, I feel like helps with that. So
yeah, I mean, you look at someone like Jack Antonoff, and he's everywhere, right?
Truly.
Behind the scenes, and then Bon Iver with T Swift, and like it's really a lot going on, and I think it brings new fans into different circles, which is cool.
I think there was
like a nice touch to it too, because I mean, going back to like what Brian said earlier, it's like, people, it was frowned upon for so long, but it just makes it no longer stale, really, overall. And I mean, I know there's still some people who are out there who say, oh, I don't like these features. Like, why are these, rappers on like pop punk or emo tracks? And there's still always going to be people who are like that. But then they love Linkin Park.
Yeah.
True.
It's a very
absolutely
fair point.
True.
Yes. And I think it's just even better to keep having it. Like, I know if I see like a new album come out, and if I don't see a lot of collaborations nowadays, I'm like, did we stay the same? Like, is there nothing new you guys are putting out or looking forward to? So I think that's also really great to just be more innovative and engaged in that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's pushed us to as musicians and writers outside of our box a little bit. I think we're constantly pushing ourselves to do that anyway. But like Justin said, when you get somebody else in the room and you're actually going through the process of writing, it's like you have to think differently because you're not familiar with this person. We've been band for quite a while, and we've been friends for a long time. So we all kind of have our way that we relate and talk to each other, but then somebody else gets in there and you're like, oh, so should I not say I don't like that lyric? Or, like what?
Sure.
Do I not like that chord? But I'm scared to tell you, like, are we challenging each other? How's that work out? I think that's good,
I feel like that's the fun of songwriting too.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think, not to get too off on a tangent, but it took us a while to figure out how to like, a big part of it is just talking to each other about that,
how to communicate.
Yeah.
By this point, we'll just be like, yeah, we can do better. Like, and just being constructive about it. Like, if you don't like something, like, oh, maybe we try this instead, or come with an idea, or just to think about. I feel like the whole quarantine thing is, I don't know if it's considered old news, but like when it first started, right, we're having to figure out new ways to write, and like Limitless, which was our three singles ago, we wrote that one all over Zoom. So it's like we're getting creative and having to find different ways to write those songs and be concise over Zoom and have one person work on the computer and the rest of us just add an input as it goes, you know? So that whole part's fun for me.
Whenever somebody's putting a band together, they really need to think about like having somebody who can do the organization and the communication and the talking, and like it's almost like having group therapy on your first band meeting. Like we all need to sit together and like talk. It's like, well, I didn't like the chord, you know, I just I didn't like the chord. Like, well, he told me all my chords suck. I'm just like, man, it's like, that is one of the toughest things, is putting 5 people, 4 people, however many people in a room together and just like, hey, let's have creative ideas that we love, that we are then going to be precious about, and have everybody else say they hate it.
It's tough. Yeah. And I think we went through periods, like we've never really gotten incredibly mad at each other. We've never had that like deep blow up, but we've had times where we're like, dang dude, like you didn't say that the right way, or you didn't communicate that the right way. And you have to learn, like you have to be able to say, like Justin said, I don't like that. Here's why. And here's what I think we should maybe try. And like, sometimes we come back to that idea and we're like, you know what, that was good. Great job, man. And so it's interpersonal communication. There's a reason it's like a college course and a communication as a major, and you know, people teach it professionally for businesses so that workplaces can function. You know?
I feel like we all learned, and also like what lanes we're in aside from just songwriting, of just like a functioning band of like, we have our lanes of like who deals with shows, who deals with like just scheduling, planning, or like if we need to get on a podcast, bring Riley along, or like so like we all have our like lanes, which I think we've developed over time too, where at first we were just kind of like, all right, let's try to do this maybe a little more chaotically, but at this point we kind of have like our structure figured out as a whole band also. So
I hope that my band doesn't listen to this episode, but I'm going to call them out right now because I may have to go there later tonight. I don't know. I'm trying to get out of it. I'm also going to text them and say, hey, I'm trying to get out of this. Like, do I have to come? The fact that like everybody has an opinion, I think, and like everybody does it like that chaotic way, and everybody's like lane is everyone else's lane too. Like it's a 5-lane highway and everyone's driving in the same lane for some reason. It's like, you can't, like, you got to have people doing different tasks, and not everything needs everybody's opinion, and you kind of just have to let things ride. And you know, I think like it with collaborations and with working with other people, it's like, well, we've figured out how the 5 of us work together. Now we're letting in this 6th person to create something with us. Now there's 7 people. Now there's 8 people. It's like, how are we supposed to work together with additional people that we don't know? And it becomes like a skill in of itself of just like organizing and giving like less of yourself into it and saying like, you know what, I need to take this idea and I need to run with it and I need to work together with them to make something. And I think that's what's going to make a band last. That's what's going to make everybody happy in it. Whenever I see somebody like, hey, I left this band, I'm like, yeah, his ideas weren't being taken. I didn't like that guy.
I mean, picture this. So we used to get together, everybody in a room, and some bands do this well, I think. A lot's changed, but we used to get together. We'd all plug in our instruments, and we'd be like, all right, guys, let's write a song. And then Justin would play. And then I would play something different. And then Eric would try to keep up a beat to what Justin was playing. But I'm playing something different. And then Wilson's like, all right, maybe I'll try and write a lyric. And then we stop and we try and do this part again. And Ryan's trying to figure out the bass chords. I'm trying to figure out the lead part to play, or Justin's trying to figure out. And we tried that for years. And it sucked. So, yeah. Life lessons in communication.
I also have been watching, my buddy has been Twitch streaming, writing songs for his band. And he's like, not the main songwriter. He's just like one of the guitarists, but he's like, I'm not the main songwriter, but I got some ideas and I just want to put them into Ableton and see what I get. I'm like, God damn, if I had a band that just like everybody was like, hey, here's my idea. I fully fleshed out a song. Let's make it happen from this. Like, instead of just being like, I have like a framework of an idea and I love it. Yeah. And you have to also love it. It's like, no, you could just like create the whole thing. You have a laptop and you tools. Have time and a dream. Like you just make it. It's like a whole different experience than like just showing up and like creating that chaos. And maybe it's different work styles too. I cannot work with just like a bunch of sounds happening like a Guitar Center and hoping for the best.
Yeah, like Guitar Center. Yeah, some guy shredding in the corner, and you're like, dude, turn off the boss. Yeah,
I say it every time. I have
to show you, I can do AC/DC covers, guys. Come on.
I'm like, cool how can the rest of you? How can the rest of you zone out while playing your own instrument and not hear everyone else's instrument also playing something completely different? Because I'm standing here hearing this complete mess happening, and then I just say into the microphone, wow, I love Guitar Center, or this Sam Ash should close, or something like that. And I'm like, dude, guys, just stop. This is so annoying.
I love that.
And we figured out our style too. That I think that really helped. And we did this during Cherry. Wilson set up a studio in his basement. Now he's in a different house. It's in his upper level, but we just figured out that we have to sit down in that studio, start with a rhythm structure, work a vocal part, work out a chorus, and then build from there. And then we just go part by part, and we record the rhythm. We maybe record the vocal. We record the E bass to it and the E drums. Wilson is an expert now on the keyboard of typing out drum parts. I mean, it's the most insane thing you've ever seen. He's smashing keys and hitting a snare roll. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense.
That's pretty sick.
But so that's how we build our songs now pretty much all the time. It starts with a voice memo and a rhythm part and we go from there, because we used to like, oh, we got to have all this instrumental done. And that just didn't really work for us after a while. And so, I think finding your process too is the biggest thing that's going to work for everybody.
And then we take those demos and I just beat them into the ground. Like, honestly, if I think I looked at this the other day in my Apple Music.
Oh, like no.
If I looked at the top 50, they're probably just our demos.
Wow.
Top 50 plays.
JB is known as the music repeater, the notorious 5-song rotation. Like he will take 5 songs that he loves for like a month and just beat the piss out of them.
I feel like I have this memory bank that I listen to them enough, I just absorb everything about the song, and then I can bring it to the table, you know?
Sure.
But then the funny thing is, if this is like a song he's listened to as a fan, you'll hear that song for a month, and then you won't hear it again for a year. It's just gone because he's listened to it 100,000 times.
Very fair. Are there 5 songs that are not yours that are on your rotation right now?
Oh, good
question. And is it any Nickelback?
How many Nickelback songs?
Nickelback.
I never listened to Nickelback in my free time. It's only when I'm with all of them.
Liar. He's lying.
He put Spotify private on. He said, "Shh, it's okay. It's just between us.
Do not share."
Alexa, stream. I can't do it. Stream Nickelback.
So I would say, if I look at my music right now, State Champs, Just Sound. I've listened to that one. I don't know how many times.
Mm-hmm.
The new Turnstile album, I've listened to that, not as much, but pretty repetitively. Some of the new Angels and Airwaves stuff, and Black Dress. Honestly, I can listen to our own music and it doesn't bother me. Like I will listen to. I've heard that way too many times, but I still
respect.
Like I know I'm doing the right thing if I'm like I like our music, that I will listen to it. I know some people can't do that, but
it's true.
I don't know.
It's true.
So that's probably but I can like State Champs right now. Just Sound. I will listen to that one song. Like on a 3-minute just one song. But, you know.
Yeah,
it happens.
It blows my mind, but I respect it. I respect the commitment and the drive.
Yeah. Oh man.
Now, when you say champs next, are you gonna say please don't play this song? I swear to God, I will leave because I did that at Blink 182's Metro show here in Chicago, and I said I swear to God, if you play Bored to Death, I'm leaving.
They play it.
Absolutely, they played it because it was right after California came out. I was like, I hate this so much.
Did you leave? Bathroom break? You're like,
I like stood in the back of the pit because my friend was like, I don't want to be in this pit anymore. And I'm like, I don't want to be in this pit during Bored to Death either. And she said, no, in general, I do not want to be. I'm like, oh, well, I'll see you later then.
So I have a question for y'all. Will, you know, and obviously Mark's gone through a ton, but will Tom play with Blink again or record with Blink again in any way, shape, or form? What do you think?
This has been the question.
I feel like it would be, but I think it would just be because of everything that's going on with Hoppus at this point. It would be kind of like a friendly energy, like, oh, let's just get the band back together because like you're going through like a rough spot.
Yeah.
I think it would be something like that. I think it would be maybe like a small tour or like a couple dates where it's like OG Blink 182 and that's it. And they probably want to do it again.
OG reunion run kind of thing.
Yeah.
I could see that. I think we know that Matt Skiba is not doing much with them anymore. Alkaline Trio is working on a new record, so that's good and fine by me. I love Alkaline Trio, so props. Okay. But then I don't know. I think I agree with Lizzie where it's like I don't think they do it permanently. And I'm starting to get to a place where I think that like Tom would want to do it, but now maybe Travis is like, dude, I'm real busy. So it like changes from like, I mean, I'm expecting, I think just keeping optimism about me, I'm expecting Mark to make a full recovery and be good to go for another, you know, few years of making fine Blink 182 records. But I think if Tom comes back and Justin, I agree with you, like the new Angel and Airwaves stuff is like really good. And I've never liked Angel and Airwaves, but I love this new stuff. I think if it brought in a little bit of that and Tom's writing and that, I think it could be really fun and really cool. So it could be worth it. Like Tom could be really down to do it and it could be a lot of fun.
And then Travis, the guy who sat in the back forever, is like too cool now.
Yeah.
Has all the friends. Yeah.
Like Kardashian says, I can't make it, guys.
Oh man, that's all over Insta. And I mean, the classic boat picture where they're making out. You know. Yeah.
Like back in the day when it was the Madden brothers dating like Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie and all of them, and it's like it's this, you know, pop punk guy, this emo guy who like gets the popular girl, the hot girl on whatever the channel was at MTV or whatever that they were on mostly. And it's like all of this, like, you know, these weird rocker dudes like getting the hot chick, and it's like, well, that stopped happening for a long time, and now it's like, wait a minute, it's just the same people just happening again.
It's back. Yeah.
I saw this TikTok and I sent it to Brian, and it was pretty much this guy. He's like a little bit bigger on TikTok, but he's like an alternative dude. And he's like, yeah, of course I want to date the popular blonde girl who never liked me in high school. Do you think I would really want to date somebody who's like me? And I'm like, what? And then like I sent him to Brian. He's like, yeah, that's accurate. And I was like, what?
It's exactly my experience. Like I'm literally just dating a blonde girl. After having dated an alternative girl who I'm like, wow, this sucks. This is not fun. This is just terrible. It's a lot of bullshit. I hope she doesn't listen to this episode either. Yeah. Oh, I mean, the Madden brothers are, I mean, I think one of them's still married to her, right? I don't know which Madden, and I don't know.
One of them is married to Nicole Richie. The other one's married to Cameron Diaz, and they are still together.
That's right. Like,
it's my celebrity update.
That is the best Charlotte it can be.
Right now, guys.
It's the best Charlotte it can be, guys. I stand by my joke.
Well played.
Thank you. Lizzie, do you have a question?
Well, guys, too, we also kind of heard and seen that you guys are kind of in it for like the fans and like a lot of the experiences, which is great. And you've kind of been able to connect more with your fan base. And I feel like some other bands have been able to do for whatever the reason. And what kind of like made you want to kind of do these types of like nicer gestures?
Yeah. I guess I feel like I will always remember the time when we uploaded a song to Spotify and it was under 1,000 plays, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so if I think on the other side of the fence, and like I'm still a fan of so many bands, if I can connect to an artist that I care about personally, and in a way where like we pass out the donuts from stage, we handwrite cards and we mail them, like, you know, things like that. Like, holy shit, Tom DeLonge sent me a handwritten card. He drew a picture. It's a stick figure. I don't care. He drew me a picture. You know what I mean? Like, we're obviously not at that level at all. And, you know, if we ever get to that place, and wow, blessings to whoever, you know, bestowed that on us. But if it makes somebody, you know, feel good and like feel like they're welcome at a show, and feel connected to the music and to us as a group of just normal dudes, then I feel like we're doing the right thing. I don't know, JB, anything else to add?
I think you encapsulated it very well. But I mean,
well, thank you.
Yeah, it's all about playing early, I guess, you know. So I don't think I can say it better.
Yeah, I guess like we had one of our fans drive all the way from Canada to a show in Bay City, Michigan, and like bring us these Canadian snacks. And like we've had fans who met us outside of Lansing for the first time we met them and brought us a gift. And I'm like, I just think about, if they're willing to do that for us, we should be willing to do things for them that feel special and feel unique. And, you know, like it's a two-way street. And so I feel put off by bands who don't have that attitude in some way. You know, obviously it's a lot harder when you're at a larger scale to meet people in certain ways and connect. But I feel like you should always be trying, you know, as best as you can.
It's like a good vibe check for everybody.
Yeah.
Back when I was starting, like I interned in like music production, music, like make your band famous, that kind of shit, like how to be in a band and how to like market it and how to do all that stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And they talk about that like it's a triangle. I'm not gonna say, I almost said pyramid. I'm like, being in a band is a pyramid scheme.
Well,
a little bit.
Listen, it makes 3 records.
Yeah. Pyramid scheme. If you tell one fan about it and they tell 2 fans about it, we'll
and
sell all the tickets to our show.
Toothpaste that makes your teeth really white with your band's name on it, and it's healthy for you.
It detoxes you too somehow. You don't swallow it, but it detoxes you.
You can also put it in your bubble tea.
I like this. Right, this is the new merch. It's fine. So it's like a triangle where, like, you know, at the top of the triangle, we'll sing pyramid. At the top of the triangle, you have like a small group of friends or fans, and a small group of people that support you the most, that will like spend a lot of money on you. They will buy your collector's editions. They'll buy merch. They'll sign up for a Patreon. They'll do all that stuff. And as you go down, it just like gets like the less money they'd spend, but there's more people in it. So at the bottom is like all the people who are like, they might listen to a song, they might stream it, they like you, but they're not like, you know, going to necessarily come to a show. Maybe they come to a show, but they're not going to buy a t-shirt. Maybe they buy a t-shirt, but they don't ever come back to another show. Those kinds of things. And it's like, I think a lot of bands now don't really think in that way. They're just like, I want to cultivate that top of the triangle and only work in that. Yeah. Like, I'm not necessarily concerned about being a national touring band or going everywhere, or like being on, I mean, MTV, the radio, all of these things have like fallen away. Right. So it's like their only concern is, am I happy doing this? And are we seeing people that like enjoy us and we are sharing in that experience with them? And I think that's just so much better, like, than worried about all the other shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to worry about all the other stuff. I mean, because there's a part of us that is really trying to make this a full-time career, and we want to tour and we want to grow the band to a really, you know, big level. But then there's just like, we're chill friends and we're hanging out at a show, group of guys who we just want to be your friends, like pass out donuts, and when you're in the front row, we might introduce ourselves to you. You know what I mean? Like, I think I did that one time at a show, and the people were like, "What? I've never had a band member like fist bump me or shake my hand and be like, hey, my name's so and so." And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, you're standing right next to me. There's like odds are I might sweat on you. Yeah. So, we're tight now.
We have to explain exchange of pleasantries. Like, come on, we can't make it weird.
At least know my name and my favorite color.
Yeah.
So
who would you? Yeah. Let me tell you about who had Shaka, bro.
Exactly.
So
and then Matthew McConaughey walks up because he's feeling the vibes. And he's like, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
He's actually the secret Travis Barker of the actor world. He's getting into pop punk now, actually. So he'll just be there. He'll just show up.
This is the announcement. Matthew McConaughey has joined Last Night Saved My Life as an ancillary pianist, guitarist, and stand backstage-ist.
There we go.
And a celebrator of the music.
Yeah, he just hangs, man.
Hangs and looks cool.
Yeah.
He adds depth to the background. You said, "Oh no, I forgot my flag backdrop." No worry, Matthew McConaughey's there to fix it for you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like sound check is happening, or we're about to go out. Say we've grown and we're at a great. Last Night Saved My Life has peaked. We're playing the Fillmore in Detroit, and we're about to go on. Matthew McConaughey walks out. He checks the mic for us. Hey, all right.
All right.
This one's good. Come on, boys. Then we come on. Center Field's playing by John Fogerty. We walk out. Put me in, coach. Let's go. That's the dream right there. So
I was about to say, is that dream blunt rotation energy?
Yes, and I will worry about all that other shit you mentioned at the bottom of the triangle or the pyramid.
Yeah,
just to achieve that.
Yeah, that's true.
JB, would you say the same?
Yes. I can't keep up with you right now. Not.
And Thursday, I don't even have a drink in my hand.
You guys are about to go back to your band interview and be like, "Yo, it's got a little wild here. We all good? We all on the same page?"
Yeah,
we had a great time.
I thinking about the audience, like that connection, especially like, let's say you're at a show and you were saying about state champs, you were seeing them at Warped Tour, and you're like, man, like I idolize is the word I'm going to use, whether or not this is true or not, but you're like looking at them and you're like, I want that. I want to be that. And if you have the chance to meet people, you go for it. And sometimes you're at shows and you're like seeing a band, you're like, wow, that band's like really good. And I've never heard them before, but I enjoy it. This is new to me, but I love it. It's like, what is it that connects you to the band in that way? Because I'm like, I want to say hi to people. I want to like tell the band like, hey, I really liked it. Like I'll buy a shirt, I'll support them. But I don't really know like what gets you from seeing a band, enjoying that band, to being like, I need to have an emotional, personal connection with the members of that band. And then you're like solid forever. It's like, what gets you from like that, from like just a fan in the crowd to like, that's my best friend.
Oh, JB.
I was gonna say that's a good question. I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's if we go off the triangle thing again, it's like there's like only three and like it has to be the ultimate level of like music connection, or like it's like the full package. It's like the music's good, like the vibe they're giving out, like on socials or like their merch, like just their message. Like it has to be that perfect melting pot where all that stuff is working at the same time, and then you're like, wow, they seem to like match with what I'm trying to do. I feel like that's what it takes. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen a couple bands where I've kind of felt that. I remember, I think it was at like a Matt Carney show, and Judah and the Lion was opening. I think that was the show they opened, or they were on the tour, the bill, and I hadn't heard of them before. And just like the energy and the different style of music that catches you off guard. I think sometimes that can do it. You know what I mean? If you see something, you're like, I haven't heard this before, and I'm really liking this. That can get me, but it does come back a lot to it has to sound good, right? And then at a lot of concerts you're at, the odds are good that it's gonna sound at least decent, right? And pretty good.
Sure.
But if they're giving off an energy of like, we're too good to be here or anything like that in that realm, then I'm going to be out, even if the music's really great. But if it's if they're funny, if they're relatable, and if they're sending a message of like you feel like you're from the crowd, you're part of what's going on stage too, then that hooks me in. So yeah, I agree with Justin. It's kind of a melting pot, but sometimes it takes one like well-timed perfect joke or break in the set where you do something cool, and you bring a fan up in a unique way, or that can hook you in. So sometimes it's the little things for people.
I will say too, like another instance is when you go to see maybe the headliner and you're there for all the openers, and maybe like it's the second band that plays, you hadn't heard of them, but they come on and you're like, holy smokes, this is like super good, and I didn't even come to see this. And you know they're the ones grinding to really even be out there with the smaller fan base. Most people aren't even there to see them. If it's like one of those, I feel like I'll put extra effort in to be like, all right, like gotta go give these guys props, because you know they're the ones grinding, they're not taking home as much at the end of the night, all that kind of stuff too. So I feel like that's another instance that might spark me to be like, oh dang, was not planning to see this tonight, but hats off to you guys for being here, you know.
Show out for your openers, yeah, please.
Always.
Yeah. There's been a few lineups recently where I'm like, I really don't care for this headliner. I literally just want to see the opener bands and then dip.
Let's go.
And I'm like, I really became that person overnight.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask, because I know I've seen a lot of spicy takes about what people should say to bands, and the big joke is always like, oh, you know, you always say, oh, nice set, dude, and you don't really mean it, or you didn't see it fully and you are half paying attention. What is the correct way to non-awkwardly talk with a band for anybody who's like, I don't want to be generic, I want to be genuine, but I don't want to be weird or uncomfy coming towards somebody?
I have a response, but I want to hear Justin's.
I got the last one, Riley.
All right. So,
all right.
All right. I'd prefer that you just walk up to me and say that, actually. I mean, my personality might be unique enough to where that no one else will agree with me on this. Bring me the weird stuff. Like, come up and say like, yo. Then whatever strange thing that you can think of, I'll be like, you know what? Yeah, thank you. But I mean, yeah, you can tell when a nice set dude is not genuine, right? Like, we've all said those and we've all heard those. So I don't know. I think it's an introduction to a conversation, but I love to hear like honest feedback, or like if you really like something in one song, or you liked something that we did, or you thought it was funny or unique, or you thought I was making weird faces, like tell me that, you know, because I appreciate those conversations. So give me the slightly uncomfortable stuff, and I promise I'll handle it well.
Yeah, like kind of what you said too, Riley. I mean, just being natural and like hearing specific things about a set or a specific song. I think that's the one too for me, because I think we all have our own favorite songs.
Yeah.
And some of us may rank other songs like, I don't care about that one as much. But when someone comes up and like talks about those ones, you're like, oh hell yeah! Like people can relate to us in different ways than maybe like what I'm expecting. So I think that's the biggest thing, when people come with like specific, like, oh, this song or this part, or yeah, those specific things they're into.
Do you ever want less than a 5-star review?
Oh my God. Or two fire emojis.
Ooh. Like somebody goes, yeah, that was about 3.5. Like, how would you feel?
I would ask them why. So I will take your 3.5 stars, but I'm going to ask you why it's 3.5. And if you're like, oh, I don't know, then don't tell me, you know. Like a Google review, you can't just like leave it 3.5 and not say anything. No, tell me why that company sucks, because I might not go. You know, I don't know.
Tell me your story, your experience.
Constructive criticism is good for everybody.
Yes.
And I feel like if we're playing a 3.5 show, we would know it too. Like,
yeah, we'd feel it. We would agree.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because oftentimes we play like maybe a 4, and we're like, damn, that was a 2.5, man. Like, you know, or then like we've had a show before where we've said like, wow, we felt like we sucked, and people are like, man, that was great, guys, and you're like, oh, thank you. Sure.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, we felt good, you know. So,
yeah, you tend to find that the audience is on your team, and even if they don't know who you are, they still want you to succeed. And I think that's like, it's just a good thing about the audience and for your band to remember, like everybody who's on stage doing, and really in any position, like Lizzie being a teacher is like, if you're talking to your class and they're like giving you like they want you to succeed, they want to give you whatever you need to win. But it's like, you know, sometimes the monitor goes out and you can't hear anything. Sometimes you fuck up a drum beat and it's like, that's okay. Yeah. Like audience is like, hey, do what you got to do, man. And then you just get right back into it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Like, who shows up to a show and it's like, man, I really want to watch this first band just blow it, you know, like, or
unless
whatever,
they're like your enemies and they're like, and it's like, what, you paid money to them.
I was gonna say, yeah. If you're here in spite, you know, of us, thank you for paying for that ticket and for paying a couple bones to the bar, because if you're here in spite, you can't handle this show without having a couple drinks, most likely.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so, yeah, that's a good point.
I don't think anybody's malicious anymore in the same way. I remember like there was like a blog post or something from Keith Buckley of Every Time I Die when he was watching, and he never named the band, but he's like, I was watching a band at Warped Tour. This is like 2009, 2010, like long time back, but it was very clearly Broken Side. And he's like, why is anybody into this? Why is anybody enjoying this? Like, this is so stupid. And then he's like, wait, I'm right here. And now people are associating that I like it because I'm standing here
he's watching
and I'm seeing it.
You're observing this and being like, what is going on? I'm intrigued because I can't leave, but I also dislike it. But I have to know what's going on.
Yeah. But and now if they're
taking
like
the time to write about it.
Yeah. Now if they're like, hey, Broken Side's playing, you'd be like, I'm getting a ticket. I'm going.
I got to see for myself.
I got to know.
Yeah.
We could go down a rabbit hole with that one too, with like the new age pop punk versus like the old school pop punk right now, where like there's all these old like interviews, people pulling up about like new school guys talking crap about Warped Tour bands, and then Warped Tour bands talking crap. Like, I feel like that's the new thing right now. That's gonna be interesting to watch once shows really start picking up. But we'll see what happens.
I think it's just like a lot of kids who are like romanticizing like that 2000s era because they were children or not born yet, and they're like, oh, I pulled up this old interview with this band, like, can you believe? I'm like, yes, we were there for the spice. We know it's fine, it's done with probably at this point. I would hope. It's been over a decade for most of those bands.
I will say that, like, going down those rabbit holes on YouTube with some of these new bands, and I think there was one on Lollapalooza I watched. It was a TikTok kid, and the whole vocal track was just in the song, and like he shouted a couple things. It was like a rap. It was like a rap performance, kind of, where like it was just like, yeah, this is gonna be interesting seeing like who can really perform these songs now and who's just in the studio doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, very different world of like the live performance versus just the production end, but also a different world of talking shit, because you have a much better chance of just being talked shit about online, and they're not buying the tickets to your show. So all the people who weren't talking shit are at your show.
Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah. I mean, the internet has just especially recently opened up. You know. Yeah. It's wild, and to imagine being a band like. We're like, all right, we got the run of our CDs going into Hot Topic and Target, and this is just, it's a whole world away now, and everything has changed. And I don't know, it's interesting to think about.
It's like we're just trying to bring back the Broken Side vinyl, which exists. I don't know who made it. It exists. I don't know why, but it does.
Broken Side. JB made it. He's going to own up to it right now. He's
a secret Broken Side stan. Insane.
Fate comes in circles, and JB has ended up here as we talk about Broken Side, who I forgot about.
I can't say I dabbled
Welcome back.
in that one. That one's I never dabbled in that.
Same. Yeah.
Making beats on GarageBand on your MacBook from 2009 really sounds better when you press it to wax. Like the analog sort of sound to it really brings out how fake the drums sound.
Well, I don't know if you knew this, but we talk about Seth Henderson. We actually just go there to talk. Black Dress was completely recorded on GarageBand, so.
I believe it. I believe.
Can you imagine?
Like, it's not that bad, but I think a lot of people are now working in like Ableton and other professional things just because they started on GarageBand, and it's like, look, it gets you where you need to go, and then you grow and you like love it, and you want to do more of it. So
100%.
This is how musicians start now.
Mm-hmm. We're excited about Part 1, The Color Infinite, Part 1. So that obviously speaks to something else down the road, right?
Yeah.
So to be releasing music again, to be playing a show again, I think find us online on Instagram, Twitter, a little bit of Facebook. We have some TikTok stuff going on. We promise that we'll work harder on making cooler TikTok stuff, but I think Wilson has done some awesome stuff right now. But we speaking of cooler things, I'm thinking of like Batman production, like we talked about in the beginning.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Full feature films on our TikTok. We'll get there.
I'm holding you to it. You got to do it now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have a whole script for Cookie Monster in my head, Cookie Monster horror film. So if I make this happen,
oh my God.
You will be one of the first ones to see it. So
I love it.
To immediately tag us in it in the comments. Like, it happened. That's
honestly, finally, the film we've all been waiting for. No,
we thought Marvel was good. Ain't got nothing.
Cookie Monster. But no, follow along with us. We have a lot of fun on social, I think. And then if we have the chance to meet you in person at a show, we promise some free pastries and a good time, and ask us all the weird questions after our set.
High fives if you get to the front row.
100%.
What are the pastries you're bringing back at your first show?
Yeah.
We have a long-standing personal relationship with talking about Pop-Tarts. But at our last show at the Pike Room, we handed out an assortment of donuts. Now, to be COVID safe, we will be switching up our options that are available at a Last Night Saved My Life show to prepackaged single item pastries. So to be determined. You have to show up to find out. That's it.
Yeah. Pastry surprise. The package surprise.
The
Last Night Saved My Life pastry surprise. It's a brand.
It's something you can actually pin on your order, your merch order to pick up on site. You're like, okay, guys, make sure you add it as a freebie.
Venues would hate us because there would be crumbs everywhere.
Yeah. There's a comedian who, whenever he does like his podcast everywhere, he throws donuts if somebody brings them, and he throws them, and he's like, well, this isn't fun for anyone listening to the podcast, and the venue hates me. I should probably stop doing this.
So might need to cut it out.
Yeah, this is fun for no part of this except for the audience who is trying to catch donuts as I throw them at them. Yeah. Well, guys, this is a lot of fun. I love that we got to tangents and all these ideas. So we're holding you to all your TikTok stuff.
Yes.
The song is called Black Dress. Go stream it. Go listen to it 1,000,000 times.
Right in the background.
Yeah. If you tell 2 friends and they listen to it and then they tell 2 friends, we can really get this to 1,000,000 streams before the album comes out. And I think that'd be
actually
incredible.
The new emo ML. It's a new emo pop punk MLM.
Yes.
Actually. Yeah.
Yes. As soon as you get 5 friends to listen to it, you receive a sash that denotes that you are a 5 friend. Anyway, the record will be.
It's goth boy, goth girl, girl boss energy.
Yes,
so guys, if you need to achieve it, come on.
Come on. Do you want to make it in this Anyway, the album The Color Infinite comes out on October 1st, and the album release show is on October 8th. Get your tickets now. Sell that shit out. All of this has to happen before October 1st. We're recording this on September 1st. You have literally a month to get this all done. So we believe and we trust in you. Whoever's listening to this, you can get it done. Riley, Justin, this was so much fun. Thank you guys for coming on the pod, and can't wait to see you live. Can't wait to hear everything else.
All right. Thanks, y'all. This was a blast. I loved it.